Hi, it's such a joy and honor to be part of this conversation and this forum. Thank you all for putting this wonderful program together. I'm from the CTSA at The Ohio State University. We have a new program called Translational Innovation Program, Translating Your IP to Market. And I'm also adjunct faculty at the College of Dentistry as a degreed pediatric dentist by training. I'd like to speak about culture, co-design, and learning collaboratives. So to begin, I wanted to just give an overview about our optional module and our CTSA grant that is part of this program, just to show you how our two aims correlate with the goal of NCATS, which is the center that supports my work, and that's my disclosure. So aim one is we are trying to conduct rigorous frontier research to understand barriers, identify bottlenecks in the process of going from a great idea to an actual approved therapeutic diagnostic or device. And aim two, which is primarily my work as the author of aim two, is to develop innovative new intervention strategies and new approaches that might result in a shortened timetable, a higher chance of success or failure earlier in the development process before a lot of money has been spent. So I'd like you all to remember that in this field of the scientific discipline of translational science, we often forget that improving the process of translation, accelerating the process of translation are also part of the translational scientific community. So I love this infographic that was created by a global collaborative. So we are a smaller learning collaborative, all of us interested in this topic, but a global collaborative of 6 of the world's top translational science organizations called Translation Together came up with these 7 fundamental characteristics of a translational scientist. So my objectives are really to share about how we as educators can model, teach, and build core competencies in translation with anyone and everyone in the ecosystem. So because everyone is not going to be an entrepreneur, everyone is not going to have a startup company, like Dr. Flora Winston just talked about the hardships of the busy clinicians. But everyone can build these core competencies that are somewhat unique to the scientific discipline of translational science. And together, everyone will have a part to play, and we can solve some of the wicked problems, especially the societal challenges that are very complex and difficult. And in the process, develop innovations to remove the bottlenecks and accelerate translational science and the translation of discoveries into the marketplace or into the hands of the patients. So why is this so important? And the reason these skills and characteristics and these guiding principles are so important are because most discoveries fail to translate, as you all know. And also our structures, our academic setting. I mean, it's just so inspiring to hear about Mayo Clinic and everything that Mayo Clinic is doing. Thank you so much, Dr. Ecker. That was so inspiring. But within academic settings, we do have a tendency or frequently siloed, dominated, rigid structures that really prevent the collaboration and the synergy that we really need. And also our structures tend to be competitive, which is kind of a strange thing that is not suitable for a culture that fosters entrepreneurial spirit. So the 7 fundamental characteristics are boundary crosser, team player, rigorous researcher, process innovator, domain expert, skilled communicators, and system thinker. And these characteristics can be developed in all of us and all the people who are part of that ecosystem. So we have a collaborative landscape. And we have exciting and wonderful programs at the Ohio State University for entrepreneurial education. But in our as a new program, we are testing, and I'm like to share some of the new approaches that we have introduced into the system, and also to prime the culture to have this continuous improvement, and prime the culture also to challenge the status quo and to break these silos. So the ones that I circled are the ones I will be highlighting as I go along with some of the new approaches that our CTSA has been trying. One of the ones that I'm really excited to share is the CCTS medical device CoDesign Studio. And I'm really excited to have Dr. Liz Sanders, my collaborator from Design, here with us. Dr. Sanders, if you could just wave or show your screen. In the interest of time, I'm going to run through this. And then we also have Dr. Marietta Hofmeister, who's an engineer turned physician, who was an integral part of this class and giving advice to our graduate students. So this was a pilot initiative, a graduate level course that we just developed during the pandemic, actually, where we had an RFA and inventors of university-owned technologies, so they were a little more advanced, could apply to be selected to be part of this new initiative. And the participants in this graduate course, even though the students who signed up for credit were graduate students from various disciplines, because that's a way to cross-pollinate and increase the experience of learning to be entrepreneurs, where the graduate students from different disciplines who we waited anxiously to see how many would sign up. And the other learners in this studio, the CoDesign Studio course, were the inventors and their teams too, because they, like Dr. Winston just pointed out, some of them are clinician inventors or they're extremely busy, but to have a team of students working on their invention and to advance them and certain aspects of their innovation was really attractive to them. And the other stakeholders who participated in the studio were end users, patients, community members, expert advisors, other mission partners of ours, internal and external, and implementation stakeholders. We had faculty from 4 colleges share, and we even had Revan Ventures, our local venture capital firm, participate in teaching this class. And the online collaboration tool that we used was Miro Board, which is an amazing tool for sharing in a creative way for the class to work on during breakout sessions. These were 4-hour classes. So the characteristic or the guiding principle of translational science that we taught and tried to model to all the participants of the studio were to be boundary crossers who break down disciplinary silos and collaborate with others across research areas and professions, internally and externally, sometimes even across sectors, to collectively advance the development of a medical intervention. So instead of even the role definition itself was expanded, so everyone could play and all hands were on deck to advance these 3 medical interventions. So the process innovation was co-design, and applying co-design as Dr. Sanders' brilliant contribution as an author of a book that is available on Amazon, where she describes this generative research. The process innovator seeks to understand the underlying scientific and operational principles of the translational process, and they innovate to overcome the bottlenecks and accelerate the process. So co-design is an approach to design where all stakeholders, so the support stakeholders, the end users, the patients, all of them are involved throughout the innovation process to ensure that the resulting product or device is simultaneously useful, usable, feasible, viable, and desirable, but mostly useful. Because as you all know, about 42% of startup companies failed because of lack of market need. So ascertaining the usefulness and relevance to the patient or the end user is so important. And these dots show our Dr. Sanders' recommendation of where the co-design should take place throughout the development process, and pre-design, design, discover, all the way to after sales. So this was a study that came out of Sweden about process improvements in healthcare. And the highest impact on radicality of improvement from the patient's point of view, incremental was just minor, to radical, really important, significant, the kind of breakthroughs that we deal with in entrepreneurship was in the capture experiences and taking action phase. So going back to this diagram, in the front end, before, like in the pre-design stage, as well as in the discover stage between the first two dots. And so co-designing with patients and community stakeholders is an extremely important process innovation. So I had launched this CCTS Patient and Community Peer Review Academy, basically to involve trained and empowered, equipped patients and community members.
Dr. Matthews,
yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to provide a 30-second warning, please.
Okay. So we are proposing that those with the experiential knowledge, those with the lived experience, should co-create and co-develop the innovations. And also the systems thinker that you're all familiar with, and all the stakeholders that need to be involved. So really looking at solving problems together and creating these co-design studios, even for ideation. And to Dr. Flora Winston's point, creating a co-design team around learners. We also created these monthly inventor showcases to bring together all the players in the innovation ecosystem in academia together, to partner together and to learn from the stories, using the science of storytelling. This was before the pandemic, bringing all the entire ecosystem together. And then we pivoted about a year ago into these virtual COVID-19 inventor showcases. Instead of one person, we had the entire team, and we feature multiple resources on campus. And tomorrow is actually our June showcase, and I'd like to invite you all, and I will share the link. And so that's it about the learning collaboratives are really partnerships for us to learn, continue to learn and develop how to educate in advanced translational science and the technologies to improve patient lives. Thank you very much.